Welcome back to Falcon Figures, where today I'm going to be doing another WWF Hasbro figure unboxing video, and this time I'm going to be completing Series 4.
Fantastic Four.
If you follow the channel closely, you'll know that I very recently completed Series 5. So I took the last of the Series 5 figures that I need off a card, which were Rick Martel and Cowboy Macho Man. So, and one of the things I said in that video was that I was surprised that Series 5's got 10 figures in it, and it was one of the bigger series, but it was the first one I've completed. But it's really down to who's in the series rather than how many's in the series, I think. And this is another good example of that, because there's only 4 figures really in the series. I mean, I talked about when I opened up Ricky Steamboat and the British Bulldog, I talked about the tag teams, whether or not they are part of Series 4 or whether they're not part of Series 4. I mean, they came out at the same time, so kind of count them. And because when you add the 4 singles guys that were released in Series 4 to the 4 tag team wrestlers, it makes a total of 8 in the series, and that's more sort of in line with how many were coming out at a time. So it's open to debate, it's open to interpretation, but for the purposes of the video, we're keeping the Nasties and LOD as part of Series 4 as well. But there are only 4 singles guys. Like I was saying, surprising that a series with only 4 singles guys is so difficult to complete, but it's because of who the 4 guys are. You know, so we've got Ricky Steamboat, who's probably the lowest profile Hasbro of this sort of series, this group of 4, but even he's not a cheap one to get. He's not like a throwaway figure. He's not a Greg Valentine or a British Beefcake or something like that. He's you know, a mid-carder at best, mid-carder at worst even, to try and get your hands on a nice Ricky Steamboat. But the other guys in the series are tough. I mean, British Bulldog, if you get a good mock, a good mint on card British Bulldog, you could be talking several £100s to get your hands on that. And the other 2 guys that I've got today, they're the same. So I've been lucky enough to get them in pretty poorly conditioned cards, so they didn't cost the earth, and I don't really feel too guilty about opening them up, but certainly not, even though it's only 4 figures, man, it's not an easy one to get all of them. So anyway, let's get cracking. First one I've got, as I say, I've got 2 of the 4 already opened. The next 2 of the 4 are getting opened today, first of which is the Undertaker. So, Undertaker, Series 4, this is his first appearance in the Hasbro line. I think this is probably actually his first WWF figure, because he wasn't in WWF when there was like LGNs and stuff, so this must be his first appearance as a figure in WWF. But this figure gets reused. I mean, this gets reused twice, or the mould at least gets reused twice. Once for the Series 8 figure, and then again for the mail-away Undertaker. But this is the original. This is the OG. This is the first time that the Undertaker was given to us in our 8-year-old minds, in our booking our fig feds. This is the first time I had a Taker to include. So let's get him opened, see how he looks. Oh, it's going to be entombed in, there you go, it's coming out. I'm trying to preserve the bubbles in the card as much as possible, because I have promised Kale that I would send them to her when I've done these videos. But the more I try and save them, the more of a mess I make sometimes. But there you go, he's coming out now. There's the Undertaker. Man, that is really sort of, when you get him out of the bubble, you can see, I don't know if you can tell, but that bubble's a bit cloudy. I didn't really notice when he was in at the time, but now that he's out, I can see it is slightly yellowed, that bubble. Slightly. And when you get them out, they just look, it's almost like a completely different tone. It just looks like it's got a much better finish on it when you take them out of the bubble. I mean, obviously you're not looking up through plastic anymore, but now his joints are stiff. Like his arms are stiff, head feels pretty stiff. His head's, oh, I suppose his hair's stopping him from moving, but his action doesn't feel, like when I first took Davey out the packet, his action was so tight I was scared to move it. It still is really tight, but no, Undertaker's isn't like quite as wound up as that. But anyway, it works. You know, that's the ultimate fear, is that you take a figure off card and the action doesn't even work. And I've heard of that happening a few times, so at least that's not happened. But so here he is. Here's the Undertaker. the Phenom. First time we had him to play with in our Fig Feds, and a big, massive player, like even back then. Because when you think about it, he didn't really come in at the bottom of the card and the mid card. He came in as a big hitter, man. He came into WWF as one of the main eventers, and that's how he was as a figure. That's how he was when we were fantasy booking, playing with him in our bedrooms. He was always a big, to start with, I suppose he was a heel, he was always a bad guy, but he was a force to be reckoned with. This, as a figure, the issues I've got with this is that the hat's stuck on. I didn't like that when I was a kid. And do you know, just when I said that, I'm not sure, I think it my cousin, I don't think I had Undertaker, but I played with one regularly, so it must have been my cousin that had one. I didn't like then that his hat was stuck on, and I still don't like it now. And I don't like that with any of them. I don't like that with Sergeant Slaughter. I don't like that with Billy Gunn. I don't like it that when they've got the hat stuck on like that. So I think that would be probably my only criticism. Other than that, it's pretty much what you'd want from an Undertaker figure, because I mean maybe the Gorilla Press Slam move, like the Davey Boy Smith move, but I don't know, because Undertaker, he's obviously very tall, and does the clothesline move? Because he does look tall. Maybe it's just because he's got a hat on, but he looks tall and imposing compared to the other guy. So maybe just having this stance makes him look a bit bigger than it would if he had the Hulk Hogan Warlord British Bulldog, where they've kind of like hunched over with their arms are out to their side like that. Maybe just having this, you can put the arm out and make him really, really wide. Maybe that just does make him look that little bit more imposing. I've never really thought about that before, but I kind of thought the only other move you would have for Undertaker is that one. I mean, you wouldn't really have him as a jumper. I know he did like the old school along the ropes flying clothesline thing, but you wouldn't have him as a jumper. And he'd be too small. If he had the Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty stance, that's too small for him. That wouldn't work for Undertaker. So, and I mean, the Mr. Perfect one, does he really do suplexes? Nah. I mean, it would have to be this or the Gorilla Press Slam, but I do actually think this works probably better for him. I don't know why. It's weird. I don't really know what's making me think like that, but I certainly do think this is probably the best choice of move for the Undertaker, because it does just make him look wide and imposing and sort of bigger than, even though they're all the same scale, it does make him look slightly bigger. But yeah, so as I say, Undertaker comes out in this mould a couple of more times in the Hasbro line. So this is the original. This is the first one we got, but we also get this guy. So this is, I'll take him out of the bag. This is Series 8 Undertaker that I took out of off a card in a previous video, and as you can see, it's the same figure. In fact, even the head sculpt and everything's the same. The only difference is obviously he's wearing the jacket, he's got the soft goods, but it's the hair colour, which is really the only sort of difference, significant difference, is that they've got different hair colour. And then the mail away one is the Season 8 Undertaker again with the soft goods, with the jacket, but again, like a slightly different hair colour. From memory, it is like a light brown, because that one's kind of more reddish. This one's dark brown. I think it's like a light brown. I don't know. I'd have to see them all together to remember which one's which. But they've all, that's I think the main difference. How you can sort of differentiate them when none of them have got jackets on. When the melee one's out of his bag, I think there is a way to differentiate based on the hair colour. Unlike melee Bret Hart, who is just a purple heart Bret Hart when you take him out of the bag. So, if he comes out of the bag, he's no longer essentially a mail away. But, yeah, Undertaker, cool fig, man. Really decent fig. And what an addition. What an exciting time that was when you finally had an Undertaker to put into your fig fed to start beating up Hulk Hogan. That was awesome, man. So, I'll put my Series 8 Taker back in his bag and pull out the next guy, the guy that's going to complete Series 4 for me. So I'm sure anyone watching this video will know who else is in Series 4 and who we need to complete Series 4. But for anyone that doesn't, it's him. The excellence of execution, Bret the Hitman Hart. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. So picked up Bret on a French card. Reasonable deal, because Undertaker Series 4 is probably like the cheapest, or is the cheapest version of the Undertaker. So you can get him much cheaper than a Series 8, definitely much cheaper than a mail away. But with Bret Hart, the Series 4 one is a lot cheaper, is not a lot cheaper, is what I meant to say, than the Series 8. You know, the Series 8 is rare, it goes for big money, but even the Series 4 one, it's expensive, man. It's not a cheap one to pick up. And I got it on a French card because really that was the only option, was the foreign card for me. That was the only ones that I saw that were in 2 digits, so as in like less than £100, were the foreign carded ones. And even there was some foreign card, this one's pretty banged up, but there's some foreign carded Brets out there, Series 4 Brets, that people want 150, 200 quid for. And I don't know if they're getting it or not, but you think they must have a reason to believe that they're going to get that. So he's not a cheap guy to come by, obviously because of who he is. He's so popular, such a significant player in this era of WWE. I mean, at the time that the Series 1 guys were out, you know, Andre and Hulk Hogan and that, Bret was obviously part of the Hart Foundation, late 80s, very early 90s, part of the Hart Foundation with Jim Neidhart, which massive part of the tag team scene. And then when he became a singles guy, almost immediately into the Intercontinental title scene, and then probably a few years after this, maybe when it was like mid-90s, then he started going up for the main events, started being involved in the heavyweight title picture. But anyone that grew up with WWF at that time, Bret Hart means something to them. You know, there's a fair whack of nostalgia that comes with Bret Hart and with a Bret Hart figure, so that drives the price up. That's why they are so expensive and they're so highly sought after. But I'm going to open this one up. So let's see how my pink heart, Bret Hart, looks out the packet. There we go. Oh man, same again. Like, I don't know if that's complete coincidence, but that I didn't notice until I took him out. There is a bit of a tinge to that one, and I noticed a completely different complexion when I took him out of the packet. So this is a move I'm not really sure what's meant to happen here. This is like the Mr. Perfect one, is it? I don't know if is it different from Mr. Perfect. Yeah, I think it is. If we look at the card back, because it's not quite the same move that like Crush has. Is it just a hammer fist? Is that all it is? Is that all he does? I know that Mr. Perfect, you put someone's head in there, but the graphic here doesn't show him with another wrestler's head in the hole getting suplex. So I don't know. Maybe this is just like a hammer fist. Not entirely sure what his move is, because it's not really strong. It doesn't feel like it's strong enough. Mr. Perfect's one does whip him round. When you hold the arm, it does whip the whole body round, but this one doesn't really do that. So I'm not sure. Maybe it is just like a hammer fist kind of action. But oh man, really nice figure. Awesome figure, actually. Iconic figure. The fact that this was his gimmick. This was his how he appeared. You know, he didn't deviate from this much. I mean, he did have different sort of variations on that look, and that's what the Series 8 Bret Hart is. It's just like the Bret Hart gimmick, but it's slightly different apparel. So he's got like silver shades, and he's more sort of pink and white than there's the pink and black in the Series 8 one. But obviously we've talked about it before. This is a pink heart, Bret Hart. So there is a purple heart version of Bret Hart, who I think was originally intended even to be the mail away Bret Hart. But there are purple heart Bret Harts that appear on card, and you do see them on card, and those are pretty obviously the mail away version. So if you've got the purple heart Bret in the bag, that, because like I say, because that's not the only way to get a purple heart Bret, if it's not in the bag, then it's not really a mail away. But if you've got it in the bag, that is worth a fortune, like far more than a Hulk Hogan mail away. A Bret Hart mail away is thousands of pounds to get your hands on. But traditionally speaking, if you had a purple heart Bret on card, like I do here, boom, see the purple heart there? Then that would be worth more than the the pink heart on card. But recently that's not really been the case. They've both been as expensive, as valuable, as rare as each other. I think probably just because there's idiots on YouTube taking them out of the packet, like me. The ones that are still in packet, the prices of them are going up. So if you've got a Bret Hart on card, on a nice card, because condition is everything with any sort of collector's industry, any collector community, condition is everything of the card, of the bubble. But if you've got a pink one on card, on a nice card, it's not going to cost you that much less, or it's not going to sell for that much less than a purple one. It used to be that there was, a fairly significant difference in the price between a purple heart and a pink heart, but not these days. Pink has really caught up, and purple heart has obviously gone up because all the price of Hasbro's have gone up individually, but the gap between the pink and the purple heart has just been closed. So this is probably one of the biggest jumpers in recent times. Pink heart, Bret Hart. That one is gone right up there, and it's now, as I say, closed the gap on the purple heart Bret. So that is Series 4 complete. What a series that is, by the way. See, when you just look at that, I mean, when I had Series 5 on the table, and I was looking at Series 5 and I was talking about who else was in it, because I thought, Hulk Hogan was kind of the headline guy from Series 5, but it was shirtless Hulk Hogan, which kind of divides opinion. But when you look at, even if you include the tag teams, I mean, the Legion of Doom, iconic to possibly the best tag team of all time, possibly. I don't want anyone starting a fight with me or anything, but Legion of Doom, legendary tag team. Even the Nasty Boys, they were never like the best in the business, but they were there for they kept their place in the industry for a long time. They were relevant for a long time, so you've got to give them some kind of credit for that. But just look at these four guys. I mean, whether or not you would have known what they were going to go on to do, who they were going to go on to be, or not. I mean, these are four of the biggest stars of that era, and the fact that they're still relevant now, that when you look back at it now, so what's that, nearly 30 years ago when these figures were released, none of these guys have gone down in estimation at all. I mean, Undertaker's more or less still doing it. He says he's retired, but is he really? Bret Hart, again, it was relevant just now because he was one of the guys that opened up the AEW promotion. Obviously, he unveiled the AEW belt. Ricky Steamboat, obviously legendary as ever, still the iconic images of him and Randy Savage at WrestleMania. And Davey Boy Smith just inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year. I mean, that is a stellar lineup. When you look at the Series 5 guys, even though there was 10 Series 5, I mean, it was guys like, with the greatest respect to them, IRS, Virgil, okay, solid mid-card guys, but no legends, this is a really stellar lineup. I mean, it's only four guys, but it's four top quality guys. So really cool series to have complete. Really glad to have these, and even just the aesthetics of these figures. I mean, these are nice looking figures, and the fact that every one of them's got a different move as well, man, it's spot on. Absolutely love this series. I don't want to get overexcited because it's obviously the one I'm looking at right now, but this could be a contender for my favourite series, actually. Now that I see all four of them just standing there next to each other, I mean, Undertaker, Bret Hart, Davey Boy Smith, yeah, I mean, that is going to take some beating, actually. But anyway, I'm delighted, and before I start just havering any more nonsense about how good these four guys are, we'll call it a day there. So hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, please hit the like button, leave me a comment, share the video, subscribe to the channel, stay safe, and we'll speak soon.